Hello there, welcome to New Vision TV. My name is Victoria Namteviluaga. Our big story today is about the first two Uganda Airlines planes that touched down at Entebbe International Airport Tuesday morning. The first two of the Bombardier CRJ-900 planes have finally arrived. President Yoweri Museveni, accompanied by the First Lady, Janet Museveni, ministers, MPs and other dignitaries, witnessed the landing of the twin birds amidst ululation and singing on Tuesday morning. The Works Minister, Monica Azubantege, and the First Lady were among those singing, "This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Now, upon arrival, the two planes received a ceremonial water salute. This water salute is a touching airport tradition to honor a new airline service. They typically involve two firefighting rigs spraying arcs of water over an arriving aircraft in a sign of respect, honor and gratitude. And in more news around Uganda, we kick off with Iganga district, where the Iganga hospital has acquired a state-of-the-art digital X-ray machine. Dr. James Wako, the medical superintendent, says the new digital equipment has improved the hospital's efficiency given its numerous advantages as compared to the old X-ray machine. He told New Vision that the new machine has more than doubled the number of patients attended to in a day from 12 to 30. Ramadan Mugolofa, the Iganga Hospital administrator, explained that the new X-ray machine was installed as part of the 12 billion Uganda shillings rehabilitation works undertaken by government at the health facility. News coming in from Kagadi, the fishing community on Lake Albert has appealed to President Yoweri Museveni to immediately deploy the Uganda People's Defense Forces enforcement team that curbs illegal fishing. Livingstone Akugiziwe, the Kagadi district councillor for Ndaiga sub-county, told New Vision TV that he has organized several meetings in all the 8 landing sites, and the people unanimously agreed to invite the UPDF enforcement team because illegal fishing by the culprits is pushing them out of business. Akugiziwe attributes the depletion of fish in Lake Victoria to the use of illegal fishing nets which capture immature fish. Over now to Buyende district, where still the fishing community, this time round on Lake Choga, is in panic given that the Uganda People's Defense Force is set to start patrols against illegal fishing on Lake Choga. The arrival of the force shall send all fishermen off the lake to allow the 60 days fishing holiday so that the fish breed and mature before fishing resumes in July. Now, the commander of the Fisheries Protection Unit, Lieutenant Colonel James Nwagaba, has asked all those with illegal fishing materials to hand them over before the forces arrive. The UPDF patrols will see boats below 28 feet destroyed and burnt, besides the aggressive hunt for illegal nets and gears. And in Zombo district, the governor of Ituri province in DR Congo, Pacific Keta Upa, is expected to meet West Nile leaders in an attempt to mend the bitter relationship between the citizens of Uganda in West Nile and those of Eastern DR Congo. According to Andrew, the Zombo district resident district commissioner, the planned meeting slated for 1st June will draw political, technical and security gurus within West Nile and will come up with lasting solutions to the seemingly endless bickering between residents of the two neighboring countries. A number of bilateral meetings have been held between the two leaders of the two countries, especially those in West Nile, but counter-accusations of harassment have continued to resurface among the two parties. Over now to Bushenyi, where the police have undergone training on how to respond to emergencies and offer first aid. The Bushenyi District Police Commander, Joe Komakech, said it's important for police to have such refresher trainings to equip the police officers with what to do in case of emergency. The Ishaka Adventist Hospital Administrator, Lydia Komgisha, said they plan to spread out the trainings to other communities, most especially to border riders and taxi operators, because everyone needs these trainings. And that's it for news around Uganda. Let's now take a look at stories making headlines across East Africa and the entire world with Lynn Komgisha.
You're watching New Vision TV. This is news around East Africa. My name is Lynn Komjisha. We start off with South Sudan. The opposition in South Sudan has called for a 6-month extension to implement the peace deal. The call comes at a time when the major deadline set for formation of a power-sharing government is just around the corner. Opposition Deputy Chairman Henry Odwal told the press that the extension is needed because security arrangements are not yet adequate. South Sudan rejects the extension idea, raising concerns among observers that the peace deal signed in September could fail and fall apart. News coming in from Kenya. A Kenya Red Cross volunteer was killed by a known gunman as she closed her shop Monday night. The attackers are believed to have disappeared immediately after attacking her. The police has launched a manhunt for the unknown gunman, promising to bring them to book. In Uganda, the first two of the Bombardier CRJ-900 planes that Uganda ordered for have arrived in the country. President Yoweri Museveni, accompanied by the First Lady Janet Museveni, ministers, members of parliament and other dignitaries, witnessed the landing of the twin birds amidst ululation and singing on Tuesday morning. The Works Minister Monica Zubantege and the First Lady were among those chorusing, "This is the day that the Lord has made, we shall rejoice and be glad in it." Upon arrival, the two planes received a ceremonial water salute. The water salute is a touching airport tradition to honor a new airline service. They typically involve two firefighting rigs spraying acts of water over an arriving aircraft as a sign of respect, honor, and gratitude. Now from Tanzania, the Tanzanian government is set to reconsider its decision to scrap the VAT on sanitary pads and think of another option. The exemption that took effect at the start of the last financial year was meant to help females access sanitary pads at an affordable price. It has, however, emerged that the exemption only benefits traders and not the intended women and girls, calling for a reconsideration. Away from East Africa, we take a look at what's making headlines around the world. We start off with Sudan. Sudanese protesters have called on Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to keep their money a day after Riyadh and Abu Dhabi offered to send Khartoum $3 billion in aid. Hours after the oil-rich Gulf states made the announcement, demonstrators at the sitting outside Sudan's military headquarters in Khartoum started chanting, "We don't want Saudi support." Protesters are demanding the military hands power to civilians. Their protests, which started in December 2018 against hikes in prices of fuel and bread, gradually turned into a push against Omar al-Bashir. Pressed hard against the war, Bashir resigned and the army took over. News from Algeria. 5 people were killed on Monday after a building collapsed in Algeria's Old Medina. Officials in the North African country are saying rescue teams rushed to the scene of the dilapidated 4-story building in the UNESCO-listed Kasbah district, but the victims, all members of the same family, had already died. According to residents, a man, his wife, his brother and the couple's 2 children, an 8-year-old and an infant, had been squatting in the building after its former occupants were evacuated several months ago due to concerns about the structure. In Sri Lanka, details are emerging that the Easter Sunday bomb attacks in Sri Lanka were in retaliation to a recent attack on mosques in New Zealand, an official in Colombo has revealed. The junior Minister of Defense said security agencies believe 2 domestic Islamist groups were responsible. Sri Lanka was thrown into chaos when churches and hotels were attacked on Sunday. The death toll is at 290. This is the first deadliest attack in years since the end of the civil war in Sri Lanka. From North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will soon visit Russia for a summit with President Vladimir Putin, North Korean state media said Tuesday, with the Russian newspaper reporting they will meet Thursday in Vladivostok. The visit is part of Kim's effort to build foreign support for his economic development plans, analysts said, after the breakdown of a second U.S.-North Korea summit in Vietnam in February meant no relief on sanctions on North Korea. News coming in from United States. A group of Democratic presidential candidates were divided Monday over whether Republican President Donald Trump should be impeached, reflecting a broader split in the Democratic Party over how to react to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report into Russian election meddling. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to make a state visit to the United Kingdom in June and will visit Buckingham Palace, according to Sky News in a tweet. That was news around East Africa and around the world.
Well, many thanks, Lynn, for the update of stories making headlines in East Africa and across the world. Let's now take a look at some of the stories that you should expect in the New Vision pullouts tomorrow. In Mwalimu tomorrow, we take a look at how the society can protect girls from teenage pregnancies, and we also have newspapers in education. Find out how newspapers are improving learning in Karamoja. You're watching New Vision TV. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the business world. Here is Lynn Komgisha with the Handshake.
Hello there, thanks for joining us here on New Vision TV. This is the Handshake with me, Lynn Komgisha. I have with me Paul Bushalizi. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Paul, recently the minister in charge of investment issued a stern warning and said, do not entertain fake investors in the country. What did she mean? Was she trying to confirm our fears that we actually have fake investors?
Well, it was an interesting statement coming from the Minister of Investment. We don't know who she was warning. But I think the context was that she was talking at the inauguration of the board of the Uganda Investment Authority.
Yes.
And she was, I think in the same event, they was talking about how UTL, they're going to have to need to find new investors. So that's the context, I think, in which she was speaking. But yeah, it's true. I mean, we have a lot of, I think you can actually call them sham investors, people who use the back door to get in on deals and then don't deliver. I think they're hoping maybe to just flip the deal. So if I can get a company and then I just go and look for a new buyer and I make a difference on the side, which is the last thing we need in this country.
Sure. Does that mean we don't vet our investors when they come into the country? Who is in charge of vetting? Who does what when it comes to investing?
I think obviously the message was to Uganda Investment Authority, the new board especially. And look, I think Uganda is in a very tricky situation. Let's say it's in a tricky situation. One, you don't have a big enough market that you would attract, like, let's just say the Fortune 500 companies of America, the GEs and the, Apples and Microsoft directly come here because your market is not big enough. So then what normally happens is that the people who are interested in you are much smaller players, and many times they can be cowboys, if you can call them that. That's our challenge. So the challenge for us really is to, of course, on a much broader level, is to widen our market, and that's where the East African community comes into play.
Right.
And two, to really insist that, okay, well, even if we don't have much market, the people who come here have to be bona fide people who are willing to make a business of it, to stick with us for the long haul.
Where is the problem?
Well, I think the problem is that...
For us being a small market, but yeah.
I think the problem is two sides. So two sides of the deal. One, you have the cowboys who are willing to cut all sorts of corners to get in.
Right.
And then us who are so susceptible to corruption, we'll take... I fear that we can't even sell our parents to... I don't know about desperacy, really, because the people who are taking these bribes are not, it's not as if they are not going to get their next meal. So there's an element of greed and just total lack of patriotism, to put it even very bluntly.
So does her statement also include our local investors? Does it take in our local investors? Do we have any fake local investors?
No, yeah, we do. We've seen it before in previous deals. It was more, I'm sure it happens even now, but we've seen it like in road contracts.
Right.
Somebody takes a contract to do a road and just doesn't do it, doesn't do it well, if you're lucky, or just doesn't do it at all. We used to see it also in the privatization days. Some local investors are given a company, they do nothing about it. Eventually, it's just run into the ground. So it's not only foreigners who are fake. We have our local briefcase investors who just, the intention is not to make anything run, just to make a killing.
So now that the new board is on, what are the measures they're going to? What is new? I mean, it's the same old thing. The old board goes, new board comes. What new things should be done?
Yeah, I think the saddest thing for us is, as a country, is with such boards, there is no leadership. So the minister herself, I'm sure she has, but how far does she follow it through? Has she set them an agenda? For example, maybe the world is changing. Maybe we need to put more emphasis on getting knowledge companies rather than manufacturers. I'm just thinking, what do these people need? The incentives for the knowledge-based company are totally different from the incentives of the manufacturing company. What do we need to give them? What do we need to guarantee them? There are all sorts of stuff. And the world is changing. We can't be, UIA was probably started about, 20 years ago or so to 30 years ago. I think it can't be operating the same way it has all this time.
I've always thought that people on such boards are just enjoying the situation.
Allowances.
That is me. I don't know how other people think or how you
Well, I mean, given the output of many of these organizations, people will not be faulted for thinking that way. I mean, if you're sent to do a job and you're not doing it, but you're getting paid anyway, so people wonder, so what's the point? Yeah. So it's. I think it's a valid criticism and one they should pay attention to.
Absolutely. We need to see some work getting done.
Serious work.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
And that's it for sports news. Let's now take a look at today's episode of our Pearl of Africa daily series. In today's Pearl of Africa episode, let's take a look at the Rwenzori mountain. With its roots on the border of Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Rwenzori mountain is sometimes called the Mountains of the Moon because its mountains were thought to be the source of River Nile. Being Uganda's highest mountain, its peaks are permanently snow-capped, and the melting snows from the range do feed some of the farthest of the Nile tributaries. Take a look.
Located in southwestern Uganda and shared by both Uganda and DR Congo, Rwenzori is one of the highest mountains in East Africa. It derives its name from Enjura, meaning rain in a local language. The locals always saw the mountain as the source of rain, hence the name Rwenzori or Rwenzori. The Rwenzori Mountains reach heights up to 5,109 meters, which is 16,762 feet above sea level. The highest Rwenzori peaks are permanently snow-capped. Margareta Peak on Mount Stanley is the highest point in the range. The mountains were formed about 3 million years ago and are in an extremely humid area, frequently enveloped in clouds. This mountain was formed as a result of tectonic movement of the earth plate. The mountain ranges are sources of many rivers that flow down to Kasese, Bundibujo, and Kabalori districts. The Bakonjo and Bamba live in the lower ranges of the mountains both on the side of Uganda and DR Congo. The mountain attracts many tourists who come for mountain climbing as well as seeing the animals that dot Queen Elizabeth National Park and Semiliki National Park at the foot of the mountain. The combination of spectacular snow-capped peaks, glaciers, V-capped valleys, fast-flowing rivers with magnificent waterfalls, clear blue lakes and unique flora contributes to the area's exceptional natural beauty. The region's glaciers, waterfalls and lakes make it one of Africa's most beautiful alpine areas. Activities at Rwenzori include birding, culture encounters, hikes, trekking and nature walks. The park has many natural habitats of endangered species such as the African forest elephant and the eastern chimpanzee. Rwenzori Mountain can be accessed through Fort Portal town, then south to Uganda and the southern route through Kasese that crosses the equator twice.
Now, for more Pearl of Africa stories, please visit our website on newvision.co.ug/video, or you can also get yourself a copy of the Sunday Vision every single Sunday. And that's all we had time for on New Vision TV. Many thanks for watching. You can also check out our website, www.newvision.co.ug/video. You can weigh in on our social media pages, Twitter at New Vision Wire, Facebook, New Vision, and on Instagram, The New Vision, or you can also visit us on YouTube, New Vision. Many thanks for watching. My name is Victoria Namtebi Luaga.